Now, part of this whole trip, I wanted to find some smooth roads, some bumpy roads, potholes. Oh, this is one of the most scenic areas here. It's just beautiful. So the last couple of days have been some very interesting fooling around with the suspension, the rear suspension specifically, and getting that shock right where we think it is. I'm going to go out today and give it one more test, and the test will be on 3 notches out on the spring, and in the middle, medium setting, it's a 1.5 turns out. That's pretty much where it's going to wind up after 2 days of testing. I've had it harder, I've had it softer. That looks like for a 190-pound person that's riding on bumpy roads in the summer, that's going to work pretty good. Now, from looking at the video, and this is what I try to do every day with the video, I try to look at it and say, what can I improve? Now, one of the things on this particular motorcycle, the sound does not come out authentically. 2 reasons. Number one, it's a quiet muffler. When you have a motorcycle with a loud muffler like the Kawasaki or the R1 when it had my exhaust system on it, the one I made, what happens is the exhaust overwhelms all the mechanical noise. Well, on this bike it doesn't, and you hear the wind noise and you hear rattling of parts around here, and it's actually something I want to work on. So today I have a test. I have the remote mic on the camera, the wire going, and I've got the microphone coming out about 2 inches from the muffler, trying to get more muffler sound, less wind noise, and less mechanical sound. No idea how it's going to work, but that's the fun of doing this stuff, to try to make constant little improvements. And sometimes we do, and sometimes we do this and it goes backwards. But that's the challenge, and that's the fun of doing it. So basically right here is where the microphone is mounted with a zip tie. I guess I'm 3 inches away from the muffler. Again, I could mount it to the foot peg. I guess we never ride passengers, not happening. So, and if this does work out well, what I'll do is just bury the wire in the bike, in the guts of the bike. For right now, I just have it hanging out, so it's not going to be a problem. But these are the kind of experiments that if you don't do them, sometimes you're only inches away from having something that's a free improvement. And if it isn't, you just go back to the old, what worked the day before. So now that I have all this mileage on the bike, I've got, I don't know, 1,200 miles or something. Here's what I found out. There's a brightness setting, and it doesn't show on the outside, but I'm reading the manual and just trying to memorize how to reset things and whatnot. I reset everything back to 0 on a trip meter so I would know at the end of this day how many miles I have. And this is the kind of thing that I'm just excited about doing it and learning all the little features of the bike, and it's exciting to learn that. Now, I never realized when I actually bought the bike how much I'd like this seat. I was really skeptical, thinking, wow, that seat gets pretty narrow up by the tank. But then I never realized how soft the material was, and that you probably really sit a little bit further back. And that, to me, this is one of the things, if I ever recommended the bike to somebody, one of the things I really like. The reason is it slopes down just a little bit, and it seems like they've got that right. On some bikes, they don't have it right, and you always feel like you're sliding down into the front of the bike. One of the things I think fit me perfectly are the bars. I have never even considered changing those bars, or moving them, or swapping them, or whatever, but I do see that they make all kinds of aftermarket bars for this bike. But obviously some people are taller, some are shorter, some like to lay over the tank. See, in my case, I'm limited how much I can lay over the tank to keep the bike from wheeling, and so I'm really careful in first gear. And boy, I'm telling you, when you whack this thing in first gear, you better be laying over the headlight, that's for sure. Now, here's one of the reasons to like this bike, actually to love it. It reminds me of an RD in the fact that you're shifting and shifting and shifting and shifting, and it's, I don't know how to explain it other than the fact that it reminds me of when I go out on the RD. It's a lot of shifting, and I enjoy that aspect of, and maybe once I get a quick shifter on a bike, I'll either like it more or I won't. I don't know until I get one. Now I say shifting because it's a little bit different with the R1. When you go out for a ride on the R1 and you want to go at a brisk pace, anything under 100 miles an hour, you can be in second gear, first gear, or even third gear. And you just leave it there. It's got such a wide range. Well, this bike, a little bit different. It's geared lower. So what happens is, let me just give an example. This bike, first gear is 0 to about 95. And I've proven that many times. I actually re-geared the back of the bike to make it a little bit lower gearing, just so I could shift it more. But that's me. I'm just an old school guy. This bike is geared a lot lower. So that first gear is really low, and that's what gives it the big ability to do all these wheelies. But that means you go through second, third, and fourth, and that's where the quick shifter would probably have some advantage. I don't know, because I don't have a quick shifter on the R1 either, and I don't have traction control. And boy, if there ever was something, this is the first bike I've had that has traction control. And it gives you a level of confidence that's unbelievable. And one of my very few concerns about the bike, now I can feel with my hand that these tires have turned into like track day tires do, to 80 grit sandpaper all the way out to the edge. I haven't gone to the edge of the tire yet. I always like to leave a little safety zone, because where I'm riding, deer come out in front of you and kids on bicycles. But these tires, my only concern, they're Dunlops. I'm not sure they're going to last. I'm sure they're soft. You can stick your fingernail in them. And maybe if you just ride around like you're touring or something, they're a lot better. But with 1,200 miles, I'm starting to wonder already if they're going to last. But again, we're going to find out, and I'll report honestly, that's for sure. Another thing that seems perfect in every way so far, I have not even adjusted any of the adjustments on the forks, because I don't like to fix things that aren't broken. And when I went out the first couple of rides, and I started really, leaning into it, the front end felt so planted, I didn't want to do anything. And I'm running 30 pounds of air in the front tire and all the soft settings, and it just couldn't be any better. That to me it's amazing. I don't know that you could put better forks on the bike. I'm sure you can. And I'm sure if you're willing to spend money on Öhlins or whatever. See, they don't make an SP model for the United States. It's only sold in England, but that comes with Öhlins. But I don't know how much better it is, since I can't override these forks now. Maybe on track day you could. But on the street, running at the pace we run, not happening. So our goal today is to see if the remote mic is going to be any better than just having the jacket cam mic, or no mic at all. And again, I have plenty of footage now to compare apples to apples, and apples to oranges, and oranges to gefilte fish. So it should be a lot of fun today. And I can't wait to get out on the open road. We caught a real break this morning. The weather is beautiful. And believe it or not, it's actually a little bit nice and cool this morning, as opposed to every other morning. We're racing to get out of here before we cook. It really wasn't that cool. It was chilly. Downright chilly. But a coffee goes down well. Every day I start the ride, I go down this street, the block from my house, and I see this is the legacy of this motorcycle, that big storm we had. And I wanted to get this from a couple different angles. That's why I moved the camera around today. Now as I'm heading out on the open road here, Bob, this was for Bob Navola. This is the first day I'm wearing your sweatshirt. The MT-09 birthday present sweatshirt, and I'm glad I did. It's chilly and the wind is howling. And thank you, Bob. It kept me warm all morning. Right here you can start to hear the sound. I wanted not to overlay too much of it. And I do have the ability to make it louder and softer. I wanted to get some off the bike too. So today I have the setting on three notches on the shock, midpoint on the dampening, and it still feels just a tad on the rough side on the part of the ride that we go down Route 80 through Patterson and everything. So I may put it back on the 2 notches, but I'll ride out the day at this setting just to see if I like it. Route 80 is the telltale place if you get the suspension too stiff. Now the mic test today, this will be very good when I put it up on a big screen TV that has extra powerful speakers, and I'll see if it's good. It just couldn't be a more spectacular day. What a great day. And we'll have some footage from that camera, from the remote mic on the back of the camera. We'll see if the sound is improved, same, or it doesn't make any difference at all. And it's the wind noise that's going to kill us today, because there was a terrible wind all day. And here we are now. I'm trying to get this at various speeds and over bumps, and where I normally would just be shooting in the corners. What I'm trying to do is get a good variety of roads in. I want to make a decision by the end of the day where I want that setting. On setting 2 or setting 3, and that's just for me. You never ride passengers on a bike. And of course on smooth roads the suspension's not critical. And no matter where you ride, in this area of the country, there's bumps. There's no way about it. Of course, some of the roads are nice, but some are really bad. Now this is one that you can see the patches in the road. There's a turn coming up here. There's some nasty patches here. You're not ready for this. And as I'm getting into some of the bumpier sections, I'm convinced we're going to go back to the previous setting of 2 turns out. Once that back end is a little bit too stiff and you start hitting these potholes, now you don't do that on a racetrack. Now we are really taking advantage of a beautiful day. There is not a cloud in the sky, and it's probably around 7. The only real bump I remember is going into the straightaway in Pocono. It was terrible. But this road is one of my favorite roads too, and it is just patches and potholes everywhere. So if you're out in beautiful California where there's no potholes, I guess it doesn't matter. Just a beautiful day. Just couldn't be any nicer than this. Just wonderful. And nice and cool too. Yeah, we do have some smooth roads, but I'd say 3/4 of them have things you got to deal with. Now part of this whole trip, I wanted to find some smooth roads, some bumpy roads, potholes. Oh, this is one of the most scenic areas here. It's just beautiful. But look at what they've done. The roads are paved in this direction. Now let's check this out. And paved in this direction. All they got to do is pave the bridge here. Little waterfall here. What a beautiful scenic area. What a beautiful day this turned out to be. A great day to do this final testing. And you can see just by looking at this, some of these patches are worse than if they didn't patch it at all. But this is where we live, and I can't go anyplace else. I always look at the video and see the patches, and I think, well, man, yeah, you could go around them. But luckily, this bike's very nimble. Well, I think today we got a good sample of all the different road conditions that we normally ride under. And we have learned a lot about the suspension on the bike. And if we were doing track days, we'd stiffen everything all up, but for riding on these bumpy roads, soft is better. Now, I've seen a lot of people on YouTube that have done suspension modifications, different shocks, different forks, but for the style of riding that I do and the level of performance I'm happy with, and it all comes with the bike when you buy it, so it's easy. You don't even have to bolt it on, and it's free as long as you buy the bike. And this bike is a really good value for under $9 grand.
That's pretty simple.
Those polished parts really stand out in the sun when the sun is bright. The only downside of the whole day, the wind was blowing all day long. And Bobby, the shirt is very comfortable.
Now we'll have to try this on a day that the wind isn't blowing, just to confirm what I suspect here, that this is working pretty good. That nimble handling is for real too. That bike is an RD. I wish I knew how they make it feel so light and nimble and still have 118 horsepower. That's a very tricky thing to do.
Honey, it's a lunch on the porch day. The first day of fall. Bobby's shirt was perfect today. What a good choice. So it was a real treat today. A super treat. Not to get cooked. And boy, this morning it was a little chill. There's a chill in the air. I tried on that MT09. It's actually a sweatshirt Bob Navola gave me. Wow. Was that a smart move? After all these years, I might have learned something. And I think we're done with the suspension. We're going to put it back on setting 2 for sure. And I just want the comfort a little bit more than getting the abuse. And as I look at it in the sun here, I got to clean it up a little bit. I really think the polished wheels, the polished exhaust, just added a nice touch. It's all on previous videos. And all I can say is that every day I ride this bike, I'm happier with it than the day before. It is a keeper. Thank you, Karen. Now it'll be interesting to see if our remote mic is going to be of any value. And if it isn't, of course, we have the chest mount. I tried using it in both positions. Of course, I can rotate it more, but just make the footage a little more interesting that we're sharing with our friends. And we should have that Graves fender illuminator coming. I'm sure that's going to be an easy install, but we'll do a video of it for anybody that's interested. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Share it with your friends, assuming you have some friends. I don't have any, so I don't have to share anything. Anyway, again, thank you, Bobby. The shirt fits great. Kept me from being a little chill this morning while I was out there. We got some good information now on the suspension. I think I've got this set up to fit my weight and my riding style. And for people that have a lot more money to spend on motorcycles and do these expensive modifications, I'll be honest, I don't think most people would be really unhappy. You've got to start really riding this before you even approach the area where you're going to be in trouble. And I'm a little concerned that the tires are not going to last as long as I would like. We're going to find that out. We're going to find out as soon as we go and edit the video from today if that's a keeper or no keeper. But we have all the choices on that, and we still haven't finished testing Don's camera. Got to get a hold of his camera again soon. So I really want to, of course, thank the healthcare workers. My God, their contribution is just boundless here. Every time I see those signs all over the place, I'm so happy I have one in front of my house. So again, hope you enjoyed the video. Have a cup of coffee, watch the windy video, take the ride with me. Hey, hang out, share the adventure, and if I could only tell you how much I like this bike, Karen, again, thank you. So, thanks for watching.